How you doing, guys? Big Mac Down School here today, back once again with another tutorial mission for you. This time it's Tutorial Replay-mission 10. In Tutorial Replay Mission 10 we get to see a new unit take to the field of battle for the Space Marines for the first time. It's the Aggressors. Now these come with a new weapon, so we need some new rules for this. There's a lot of new things happening, as you can tell. They've got the Flamestorm Gauntlets, which have they are an auto hit weapon, and they have D6 hits each time they make a shooting attack. Rather than rolling 2 hits, so you, for example, with Plague Marines, you want a 4+ to hit with a shooting weapon, because I have a ballistic skill of 4+. So rather than doing that, they just automatically hit with their weapons, but they're getting a random amount of shots each time. Each aggressor carries 2 Flamestorm Gauntlets, so they get a D6 number of hits with each weapon. So they're getting effectively D12 number of hits. It's not quite that, but it's very similar. So yeah, they're getting a lot of hits potentially. There's 3 of them in the squad, so that is what, 30 hits, 30 potential hits per shooting phase. They are shorter range. They're only 8 inches, I think it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, once you get in close to them, you're really going to struggle against them because they're firing out so many, or potentially firing out so many shots. Like I said, there's a lot of new things in this mission, and we're getting some new rules as well, some updated rules, the replay extra rules that I'll be using. I don't like to play through a mission and then add the extra rules after it and then play through it again. I'd rather just take the extra rules that we're getting in the replay extra rules section and use them the first time round in the mission I'm playing. So the plasma gun's got a slight update, and so has the Blight Launcher, as well as the multi-melter, but there's no multi-melter on the field of battle for this mission, so we don't need that one. Going to the plasma gun now. It's 2 shots within 18 inches, so it's a rapid fire 2, and the Death Guard get, I think, inexorable advance, meaning their rapid fire range is increased from half the range of the weapon by 6 inches. So instead of 12 inches, which it would be because a bolt gun, for example, or a plasma gun in this case, is a 24-inch range weapon. They add 6 inches to that half range, so from 12 goes to 6, goes to 18, and it's wounding aggressors on a 3+, and other Space Marines on a 2+. The enemy saves on a 6+, and it's a 2 damage weapon, and also the firer is destroyed on a hit roll of 1. The Blight Launcher as well gets a slight update. It gets 2 attacks, it wounds on a 3+, enemy save on a 5+, and it deals 2 damage. So, we'll see how these new rules affect the battle as we go. Place your bets now. Do you think the Imperial Fists are going to win this one? They're on seem to be on a bit of a running streak now, but will they keep that streak going? Or will the Death Guard forces take the victory this time and regain that momentum that they had so much of in the first few tutorial missions we played through? Place your bets now, and I'll come back once the battle's complete. So as you can see, we've got 2 forces in front of you here, guys. We've got the Aggressors on the Imperial Fist side, and we have a squad of 3 Plague Marines and a squad of 12 Poxwalkers on the Death Guard side. We've got green dice for the Death Guard, and we've got the pearlescent dice for the Imperial Fists. Let's roll to see who deploys first. I don't think it's really going to make much of a difference, but let's grab that dice tray anyway, and a dice from each of the forces. It is a 6 for the Death Guard, so they'll deploy first, and the Imperial Fist will deploy after that. I'll come back after deployment. So you can see the Death Guard have deployed in a huge mass, basically, of flesh and armour and tools over that side of the battlefield. The first unit to deploy was the Plague Marines, and then I deployed the Aggressors over here. I figured the Aggressors want to get to one of those Death Guard deployment zones to complete their mission within 4 turns. So they're going to want the clearest route possible, which is the outside route there, to get to the deployment zone. And then after the aggressors deployed, the Poxwalkers deployed on there to obviously try and counteract the advance of the aggressors. So, yeah, let's roll to see who takes the first turn, shall we? Coming over to the dice tray again. Pearlescent for the Imperial Fists. It will be Death Guard again, they roll a 6, so the Death Guard will get the first turn. I think what I'm going to do is advance with the Poxwalkers, so I'll do that advance roll now, and then I'll move up with the Plague Marines. That is a 6 on the advance roll, so they're going to get a 10-inch move there up the field of battle to try and prevent the aggressors moving straight up in the most direct route possible. I'll come back after movement. So this is the first turn still, coming back now to the shooting phase for the Death Guard. You can see the Poxwalkers have decided to advance with them. They moved 10 inches. I decided to spread them out to make it really difficult for the aggressors to actually get up the battlefield. They're not going to get up that way unless they decide to charge and then manage to kill them all and get out of combat and so on. So they're probably going to have to come this way now. The Plague Marines move from this deployment marker here to here, and then they're going to shoot at the aggressors there. So we'll start with the bolt gun for the Poxwalkers, Plague Marines rather. It's going to be 2 shots, hitting on 3s. Both hit. They are going to wound on 4s. 2 fail to wound. So then we'll move on to the guy with the Blight Launcher now. He's going to hit on 3s. Oh, they both failed to hit, so we're on to the Plasma Gun now. He's going to hit on 3s. Oh, wouldn't you know it. The guy with the Plasma Gun rolls a 1, meaning he's going to be removed from play, but he did get a hit before he got removed from play. He's going to wound on 3s as well. Wounds. So it's going to be a 6-up save for the aggressors, or there's a dead aggressor because it's a 2 damage weapon now, the Plasma Gun, let's not forget. It fails to save, so there is a dead aggressor now. As the Imperial Fist player choosing, I'm going to choose one of the ones further back in order that they can get further up the battlefield. So I'll take this guy out, and yes, let's move on to Imperial Fist turn 1 now. I'll come back again after movement. I'm going to advance with the aggressors because they can still fire their weapons when they advance with no penalty because it's the automatic hit Flamestorm Gauntlets. So I'll advance, and it's an advance roll of 2 only, so they're going to get a 7-inch move now. They're going to move up this way and avoid those Poxwalkers, but they're still going to get to shoot them, of course. I'll come back after movement. Now for shooting with the Flamestorm Gauntlets, they've got 2 Flamestorm Gauntlets, so they're going to roll 2d6 a piece to see how many shots they get. But I'm a bit confused as to the line of sight rules for this, so I'm going to play it as if they can see them all, because I don't know how you'd work out how the shots are affecting who. Do they need to be able to see everybody in order to be able to wound them? I'm not too sure. So what I'm going to do is roll 4d6 for the number of shots from the Flamestorm Gauntlets, and then I'll roll that number of dice to see how many wounds they get. But yeah, the Flamestorm Gauntlets are d6 shots, so here we go. They get 5, 10, 15 shots altogether. I'll come back when I've got 15 dice and roll to wound against the Poxwalkers. As I was saying about line of sight, I'm not too sure how to proceed here, but I've got 15 dice to roll, and if they roll 3 up, they wound the Poxwalkers. But they can only actually see 5 Poxwalkers. Like I said, I'm going to play it as if they can hit all of them, because I'm not too sure how to proceed. If you know the correct answer, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll know for the next time we use the aggressors. But yeah, so it's 3 ups to wound. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 failed to wound, so that means that's 11 wounds there on the 12 Poxwalkers. I'll take these ones out. Yep, 11 wounds on the Poxwalkers there. I'll see how many disgusting resilience they can make. So it's 11 disgusting resilience to take here. We'll see how many they can make. It's 5 or more to save. They get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 disgusting resilience, so there's only 5 wounds taken there. And there's only 5 guys that they can actually see the aggressors, so that gets me out of the that solves the problem for me. They only actually wound as many as they can see. So that solves the problem for me. But yeah, like I said, I'm not sure how to proceed with wounds when you can't see someone with a template weapon, not a template weapon, there used to be template weapons, but a random number of hits weapon. So if you could let me know in the comments below how to proceed, then I'll know for future missions. But that is the end of Imperial Fist turn 1. So we'll move now onto Death Guard turn 2, unless the Imperial Fist want to no, they advance, so they can't charge, of course. So yeah, move on to Death Guard turn 2 now, and I'll come back after movement. So Death Guard turn 2 movement now complete. I've decided to move the Poxwalkers, continue moving them round the back there, and move the Plague Marines up the battlefield this way. The plan is to try and encircle the aggressors to tie them up for at least 2 turns if possible, making that task of getting to one of these deployment zones next to impossible. If I can tie them up for 2 turns, I don't think they're going to make it. But we'll see, they may still make it. And I may not be able to tie them up for 2 turns because of Overwatch and stuff like that. So, let's see what we do now with the Plague Marines. We're going to take some shots with the Plague Marines, of course. Of course, the guy with the plasma gun should have been removed, I've just remembered. So he's been removed. I forgot to remove him in the last battle. Yeah, so the Plague Marines are going to shoot the guy with the bolt gun. I've been doing some practice rolls. He's actually in range to throw a grenade, so what I'll do with him is throw a grenade. I've been doing some just some like not math hammer, because not actually sitting down and working it out, but been doing some practice rolls to see how effective a blight grenade is. And it's going to be d6 shots. 6, excellent. 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's going to wound on 5s, the blight grenade. We need to hit first, of course, so it's going to hit on 3s. That is all hit. And it's going to wound on 5s, but you get to reroll 1s because it's a blight weapon. So that is 3 hits right off the bat, and then 2 rerolls for the blight rule. They both fail anyway. But it's 3 wounds, so the aggressors have got to make 3 saves there. 3 up saves. They make all of them, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but they would have made 2 saves against the bolt gun had the bolt gun hit twice anyway. Yes, and now it's on to the Blight Launcher. It's going to be 2 shots. Get these dice out of the way. 2 shots hitting on 3s. 1 fails to hit, the other one hits. And it's going to be wounding on 3s. Fails to wound, unlucky there for the Death Guard forces in the shooting phase. They could have got some wounds stripped off there and taken another aggressor out. They didn't though, so it's on to the charge phase now. The Poxwalkers are going to charge first. What I could have done with the Poxwalkers, and should have thought of this, is kept them all behind the container, and then they could have charged and not faced Overwatch. But it's a 2-inch charge, unfailable really. And the aggressors are going to fire Overwatch. Yeah, I really should have kept them behind the container there. The aggressors are going to get 4d6 hits. That is 2, 4, could have been worse. That is 14 hits altogether. I'll come back when I've got 14 dice in my hand. So it's 14 hits that are going to wound on 3s. Oh, reroll that one. Clearly cocked. That is a wound. So, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 failed to wound, so it's 9 wounds. So it's 5 up disgusting and resilient save from the Poxwalkers. Oh, few 5s there. 1, 2, 3, 4 failed saves there. So that is 4 more dead Poxwalkers. I'll take them from the back to make that charge nice and easy for them. So now there are 9 dead Poxwalkers, so 3 Poxwalkers left. And yeah, they can't fail that charge, so I'm just going to move. Well, I'm going to roll the charge distance, I guess, to see how far they can charge. Oh, it's not that far. Look at that, only 3 inches, but luckily they only need like a 1-inch, 2-inch charge there. So 3 inches, get in there, and in there. So those guys are in. And the Plague Marines are going to charge now as well. They don't have to face Overwatch because the aggressors are now tied up in combat. But they do have to charge still. It's a 5-inch charge, that one. And it's a 10-inch charge that they get, charge roll, so they easily make that into combat. They are going to go one at there and one there, making sure they remain in range. Yeah, so it's going to be difficult now. The aggressors can still get out here, but we'll see what happens during combat. I'll come back with the first rolls for combat. So the Poxwalkers are attacking first. It's 6 attacks in total. It's going to be 5 ups to hit, 1 hit, and 6 to wound. Or a 5 to wound, sorry, not a 6. 5 to wound, so that's a wound on an aggressor there. He does get to make his armour save though, as normal. It's a 3-up save. Saves it anyway. And then the Plague Marines are going to attack. There's no special weapons here in the Plague Marines, so they're just going to attack at the same time. It's only 2 attacks. But they are going to attack, hitting on 3s. 1 fails to hit. And it's going to be wounding on 4s. Is it a wound? It is not a wound. So absolutely terrible round of combat there. And now the aggressors are pretty good in combat because those Flamestorm Gauntlets have power fists on them as well. So I'll come back with some rolls for the aggressors. Just been checking over the stat lines there, and the aggressors get 2 attacks each. They are going to be hitting on 4 pluses though, because they are unwieldy, those big power fists they've got. Hitting on 4 pluses. They're going to put 2 of them. I'll tell you what, yeah, I was going to try and put them all into the Plague Marines, but to be fair, he is within he's within range of him in order to be able to attack them, because a few missions back we learnt new rules where you can get more attacks in close combat. So these 2 are both going to attack the Plague Marines, because I want to make sure the Plague Marines die first so we can just move up the battlefield if we want to. Yeah, it's going to be 4 attacks hitting on 4s, all but 1 hit, and they're going to be wounding on 3s. I think I'll just double check that. Yeah, they wound Poxwalkers on 2s and they wound Plague Marines on 3s. Wounded on 3s. Oh my gosh, all rolling 1 there, so they don't do any wounds. However, we're going to see what happens now when we go into Imperial Fists turn 2. So, coming back in Imperial Fists turn 2, the Imperial Fists have moved and they've fallen back out of the combat. They can still fire because of Codex Discipline as well, and they don't actually suffer any penalty to fire like a Space Marine normally would. They'd normally suffer a -1 to hit with Codex Discipline, but because they've got these auto-hit weapons, they don't actually suffer a penalty. So they're going to get 4 shots, or 4d6 shots rather, and they're going to put them all into the Plague Marines to try and kill off the biggest threat in the Death Guard side. It is 1, 2, 3, 6, 12, 16. It's going to be 16 shots. Let me just double check. Yeah, 16 shots. I'll just try to double check that. So 16 shots into the Plague Marines, and I'll come back with the wound rolls. So like I said, it's going to be 16 shots going from the aggressors into the Plague Marines. They're going to wound on 5 or more. Oh, some 5s there. 5s and 6s. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 wounds. I'll come back with the saving throws. So first off, the Death Guard get their power armor save, which is a 3-up save. They make 3 of them, so they just got to make a disgusting and resilient roll for the one that they failed now, which is a 5 or more to make the save. It's failed, so there is another dead Death Guard model. It's D3 damage, but that's not going to make any difference here. The wounds go onto the model, the damage goes onto the unit, is my understanding of it. Correct me if I'm wrong though in the comments below. So that is 1 dead Plague Marine. I'll take out the guy with the bolt gun, of course. Stick him up there, back where he belongs. Now it's on to Death Guard, turn 3. The Space Marines are running out of time to get to these deployment zones, and if the Death Guard can tie them up for another turn and prevent them advancing further up the battlefield, it's going to be tricky for them. So let's see what happens in Death Guard turn 3 now. Well, I might as well do some movement here, hadn't I? He's just going to turn round and then move over here to stop them moving up the battlefield easily. And then the Poxwalkers are going to move up here. I'll come back after I've moved them, and when the shooting phase is going to happen. So as you can see now, the Poxwalkers have moved up. The Death Guard forces are working hard to try and hem these aggressors in. And the Blight Launcher is going to shoot now. He's going to hit on 3s. 2 failed hits. Absolute terrible shooting from the Death Guard forces this game. So it's going to be onto the charge rolls. They're all within charge distance, within a distance where they can't fail the charge. But the question is now, who charges? Do I try and tank the wounds with the Plague Marine, or do I just accept that I'm going to lose the Poxwalkers? It's either or, isn't it? Let's. Who's going to charge first? I really need to make this decision. Right, so I've just realised something. If I charge with the Death Guard, the aggressors are going to be able to fire Overwatch at the first unit that charges. They're probably going to wipe out that unit because they'll have about 15, 16 shots, something like that. So whichever unit charges, they're going to wipe out that unit, and then they're going to be able to fire Overwatch at the second unit that charges as well. So because I've positioned the models in this way, the aggressors can't actually fit through that gap because his base is more than an inch, and that's a 3-inch gap, meaning you can't go within 1 inch of an enemy model. So the aggressors can't fit through there, they can't fit through there, so they're sort of hemmed in on this side of the battlefield now. So the best thing for the Death Guard to do is actually stay in position. The aggressors then, they can move if they want, but realistically, the best thing for them to do is to shoot and then charge a unit. So yeah, I'll come back now in Imperial Fist turn 3. So this is Imperial Fist turn 3 now. And what I'm going to do with the aggressors, I think, is shoot the Poxwalkers, and then I'll charge the Plague Marine. But yeah, it's going to be 4 shots, or 4d6 shots rather, targeting the Poxwalkers, which gives us, it's a relatively low roll, but it's still 11 shots going into those Poxwalkers, so it should be able to take them out. So 11 shots from the aggressors to the Poxwalkers. Let's see what they can do. It's wounding on 3s, looking at the data sheet. So there's a few failed to wound there, but only 1, 2, 3 failed to wound. We'll take them out. So that means it's going to be 8 disgusting and resilience that the Death Guard have to make. So can these Poxwalkers now make the 8 disgusting and resilient rolls? 5 or more to save. That is 1, 2, 3 saves, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 failed to save, meaning that's 5 wounds taken, 3 dead Poxwalkers. So that is the end of the Poxwalkers in this mission. And now the aggressors, they didn't actually get a movement phase in this turn, so the best thing for them to do is to charge and kill the Poxwalker. If in this mission, another way of winning is if either side wins, they win the mission, and that's the same for most missions as well. Sorry, if either side wipes out the opponent, they win the mission. But realistically as well, even if they kill him and there was other units on the table, they could they could consolidate to closer to the objectives and then complete the mission in that way as well. But yes, let's make a charge now with the aggressors into that Plague Marine there. So they are, the Plague Marine's going to get 2 Overwatch shots. He's hitting on 6s, or he could throw a Blight Grenade actually, couldn't he? No, I'm going to stick with these, see if I can hit on 6s. No, both failed to hit. So now it's a 2-inch charge, but let's roll to see for them how far that charge is. It's a 5-inch movement now. So the first guy's going to move here, and the second guy right round here, as far up as possible, in order that they're both further up the battlefield. Realistically, like I said, if the Imperial Fists win this, then the Imperial Fists have won the battle. So on to the combat. The aggressors are fighting first. They get 4 attacks, and they are hitting on 4s. That is 2 misses, but 2 hits. They're going to be wounding on 3s. 2 wounds, and it's going to be 6 up saves for the Plague Marine. Both failed to save, so it's going to be 5 up disgusting and resilience, or that's a dead Plague Marine. Oh, that is a cocked dice, but there is a failed one there anyway, so it doesn't matter, doesn't make any difference. It's another victory for the Imperial Fists in, like I said earlier, even if that wasn't the last model on the table, they'd be able to consolidate now, and they'd move up there to consolidate, and then in the next turn, turn 4, they move onto the objective marker, but they've won that anyway just by wiping out the opponent. There you have it, guys, another Imperial Fist victory. They really are building up a winning streak here now. It seemed to go all the Death Guard forces' way in those first few missions, but now the momentum is with the Imperial Fists. These aggressors are, you know, they're tough to shift off the field, shift off the battlefield, but it wasn't helped by some of the Death Guard shooting. The Plague Marines could have done so much better in the shooting phase. As soon as the Plasma Gun Sergeant was taken out, that really gave them some problems, because the Plasma Gun Sergeant also has a Power Fist and he has a Plague Knife, so he has the specialist close combat weapons. He makes an extra attack in close combat, so had he got into close combat with the aggressors rather than just the standard Space Marines, he might have been able to do a bit more damage than those standard Space Marines or Plague Marines. The Poxwalkers behave like Poxwalkers, you know, they're very much there to be a nuisance for your opponent, and but when your aggressors, when you're facing a unit like aggressors, the aggressors, considering there's only 3 models, they get a lot of shots, as we saw. They didn't even roll the highest amount of shots available to them all the time, or nowhere near. They didn't roll it a single time. But even with 2 aggressors left on the field of battle, they're still rolling 4d6 to determine the number of shots. That is, on average, I think that's 14 shots, isn't it? But had they had the 3 for a little bit longer, they would have done even better, probably. So it's an interesting one, and it shows us how the Imperial Fists have managed to maintain that momentum so well. The next mission is going to be involving a foul Blight Spawn, and I'm going to be playing the replay mission Burn the Bomb with a unit of 12 Poxwalkers again. These Poxwalkers are getting about, aren't they? And a foul Blight Spawn, 3 aggressors, 3 reavers, and Lieutenant Gideon. So tune in next time for that. I'm thinking about putting up a painting video, doing like a live stream with me painting some of the Death Guard. I've got to paint Death Guard next, but painting some of the Death Guard and some of the Imperial Fist maybe on a live stream, rather than just continually week after week putting out these tutorial missions. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Would you like to see some live painting streams? See how much I can actually get done, because I tend to get distracted by the chat on live streams. But I've done a few live streams on my channel recently that have, I think they've gone down quite well. People have joined me in them, so there we go. Let me know what you think of those ideas in the comments below, and make sure you tune in next week for tutorial mission 11. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Before you go, don't forget to give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Any questions you've got, you can ask in the comments below. There's a button here for you to subscribe if you've not already done so, and a Patreon link here if you'd like to support the channel. There's also a couple of videos here for you to check out at your leisure. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the battlefield.